All right, well, good afternoon, Rotarians, and welcome to another segment of the Rotarian Spotlight. And I thought I would do this because I think it's really important to get to know our members, and some members we know extremely well and others don't necessarily know other members as well. So I think it gives us an opportunity to really get to know folks. And today we are excited because we have Ariel and Hux Miller that are here with us today. So welcome, Ariel and Hux.
Thanks.
Hey, Dave.
Well, I'm particularly excited to talk to these two because I think first of all I've known them for several years now, and I think that you'll find that both of them have been extremely instrumental in our international focus the last several years, and as well our entire World Affairs Committee. And I have to say that particular committee is truly on a roll. I mean, there are so many neat things going on within that committee, and our club should be extremely proud of them from that perspective. So with that being said, so Hux and Ariel, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about your careers, your family, some of your hobbies, interests, maybe even your favorite food.
Okay. Well, why don't I start? Because once Ariel starts talking, I'm going to have trouble interrupting. But I've practiced medicine for 30 or 35 or 40 years, both internal medicine and infectious diseases. And I worked all my entire career at TriHealth and came to Cincinnati right when the HIV epidemic was starting. So much of my infectious disease focus was on that. And I was fortunate enough to be at a meeting in about 1996 when they announced, that was almost the first announcement of the cocktail, which changed everything. Up until that point, everyone had died. Subsequently, almost everyone has lived. And I've been semi-retired for about 3 years, but I'm still working 3 or 4 half days a week. And one of the interesting things I did while I was in college was I went and worked for a year in Madagascar. And that was a special program where you took a year off in between your sophomore and junior years, and then you went back to college. And it was after that that I decided that I wanted to go to medical school. At any rate, many years later, my friends Dave and Ginny Wiltsey were starting a little foundation to help the people of Madagascar, and I got on the board. And a few years later, I found myself in Madagascar on a medical mission trip. And on this medical mission trip, there was a young Rotarian who had just joined the Rotary Club. And he was so enthusiastic that what I learned on that trip to the third world wasn't so much something about third world medicine or third world problems. I learned that I wanted to join the Rotary Club. And when I got back, I did. And so I will turn it over to Ariel now.
And we're glad you took that trip, Hux.
So am I.
So one of the first things Huxley tried to do with me when we were students was to teach me how to speak some words of Malagasy. And this was actually kind of a smooth move by a young man, kind of equivalent to, would you like to come up and see my etchings? So he taught me some Malagasy, and I was supposed to work in Madagascar after college too, but my father had just died, and my mother had a heart attack and open heart surgery, so I didn't go. Wow. Even though I had the yellow fever shot. I went to graduate school in international relations and then continued on to graduate school in public health, and I was trained as a health planner at Johns Hopkins. And then had 2 little teeny kids and moved to Cincinnati with Huxley when he started his career and was working 70 or 80-hour weeks. So I was a stay-at-home mom for many years, and I used my planning and analytical background as a journalist for the Episcopal Diocese writing about poverty. And my whole career has been spent trying to help churches and small nonprofits work smarter against poverty. What are the things that keep people in poverty? What are the levers we have? So obviously with the international relations and the anti-poverty focus, Rotary is a great fit for me. And what I love about it is Rotarians are really smart, practical people. They transcend ideology. Here's our cat. This is Aurelia. They transcend ideology and get to work on solving problems together. I love that. That's just what I adore. And what I've really loved about these international projects, like the one we're doing in Madagascar, is meeting other Rotarians around the world and just dropping into this instant community. And the church, you know, a worldwide denomination like Catholicism or the Episcopal Church or whatever, is a little bit like Rotary. You can drop in anywhere in the world and you know what's going on in the group activity and you feel included. So it just really, really fits. And like our colleague in Madagascar sent us a photograph the other night from the Facebook page of the president of Madagascar about an airlift of rapid test kits that had just arrived in the capital. And Huxley had just been on the phone that morning with medical colleagues in Tamatave about encouraging them and telling them, if you can do testing and you can identify the cases, the first cases that hit your city now, you're an island, you can contain those cases in your city and their contacts. You might be able to cut this off at the pass. So just those connections there are just so exciting.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. That's been my experience as well over the last 10 plus years. So tell me a little bit about your Rotary experience. I think Hux, you joined the club in 2009. I think Ariel followed you a few years later. So tell me a little bit about your experience in our club and maybe some of your fondest memories.
Well, I had joined, I think my first meeting as a member. I think Bob Miller was trying to get people who were going to host the young people coming from Argentina on the, I forget the name of it was the
There's a young professional
exchange meeting. So we'd always had AFS students, so I signed up for that. And about a week later, I'm in a bus touring Cincinnati with our new friends from Argentina, and all the other Rotarians are sort of looking at me and trying to figure out who I am, and they said, so when did you join Rotary? And I said, last week. And so I have really, the other thing that I've really enjoyed about Rotary is just the social aspects. I feel that I have more friends now than I ever did before. The thing that would have surprised me the most, Dave Lucky got me to join bowling, and now I'm quite a fan of bowling. And we bowlers see each other every week and hang out and get to know each other.
See, I had to join the Rotary Club, otherwise I was going to be a Rotary widow. Because Huxley's been so busy and it's just been so fun.
Right, you're right.
How about you, Ariel?
Oh, I love everything about it. To me, it's like being in high school your whole life long in the extracurricular, like the club you wanted to join to be in after school because you like all the other people in it. It has that kind of innocent sweetness of a high school extracurricular club. But like high school, you're continually learning new stuff. And I love the fact that Rotarians are always going back and saying, well, we did that, but could we do it better the next time? What did we learn? And I'm a P on the Myers-Briggs, so I love always like being on the steep side of a learning curve.
There you go.
Well, and one of the things that I always tell people when I'm talking about Rotary is, well, it's a service club, and these are our service projects. But the other thing is, it's a club. I mean, up until 2 weeks ago, we would see all of our friends every week for an hour and a half and get to talk to them before the meeting and after the meeting. So that's something that's very unique in this world right now.
Well, we hope we get to do that very quickly in the next several weeks. So,
and what you're doing now is trying to keep that going, which I really appreciate.
Absolutely. Well, we did get some amazing news recently from Rotary International that I wanted you to both comment on. That is that our club has been awarded a Rotary International grant and district matching funds to do another Madagascar safe or healthy village. And so tell us about that whole process, the process that you had to go through to established the grant, and I know that was not an easy process, but tell us about that as well as the
Okay, so
project
it's
itself.
really rewarding. You know how when you have a group project and you have to finish it by the end of the term, and everybody has to do a little piece of it, and you bring it together, and then they give you, you know, your classmates applaud and you get an A. I mean, that's what this has been like, and everybody says it's such a horrible process, but it's not. It's the way Rotary International has designed it. It's really meant to ensure that there's buy-in and that you've got people on the scene who have vetted the work and know that it's going to succeed and are going to watch it for you and contribute to it. So from my background as a planner and a person who studied appropriate technology transfer to the third world, this is a really beautifully designed process, and it's significantly stronger now than it was even 4 years ago, the first time we did it. So I think Rotary is getting better at this, and that's been really fun. So if anybody thinks it's too difficult, think of it as like any worthwhile thing you do. You have to put in the legwork to make sure it's going to work, because you're using other people's money.
So tell us about the project itself, what we're going to accomplish through the project in Madagascar.
Well, what it is, it's a fairly large village, and the problem in many third world countries is not only don't they have water, but they don't have very good sanitation. And if you provide just water, that's fine. But if everybody's having diarrhea throughout the entire village, you still get a lot of diarrheal diseases, and that's a major killer of young children. In fact, if you see little kids walking around in Africa without any shorts on, that's not because they don't have shorts, that's because they have diarrhea and their mothers just send them out without any pants on, because otherwise you'd have to wash the pants. So this project is a project of not only providing clean water, but also sanitary toilets also. And the other 2 or 3 villages that we've done, we've seen a tremendous drop off in the amount of diarrhea. And then the other thing is it's also helping the community become more organized too, because there's a lot of training. For example, you need masons to make these toilets. Well, the men in the village are trained to become masons, and then they have a job.
And a lot of women are recruited to be health promoters, and they go on to work for other nonprofits now that they have these new skills. And a lot of the reinforcing of the hygiene practices like hand washing, which we're all thinking about a lot right now, a lot of that is reinforced in focus groups in people's houses, focus groups of women, focus groups of men, activities in the schools, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of community organizing that goes into it, which is Rotary would not fund it without that kind of community change of practices. And people are just really proud of the improved quality of life that they got. And one man in the last model healthy village stood up and said, "I feel like a king. I can sit on my throne just like a rich person in the capital."
That's funny. Well, Rotarians, I think through this few minutes that we've had with Ariel and Hux, that you truly know that there are international leaders in our club. And to the both of you, thank you so much for spending time with us today, and stay safe and stay healthy out there. And looking forward to seeing you again in the Hall of Mirrors.
Thank you so much, David. It was great to see you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, President Dave.
All right, take care.